Debugging mobile apps is one of the biggest pain points for mobile developers. This is because you are tracing errors from multiple sources and not just one. In this video, I will teach not just debugging, but how to think like a professional when an app fails. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay updated for more videos. We will first look at the dev tool. Currently, I am using a Chrome, and if you are building a cross-platform like I do, I work mostly with Ionic and then Vue for my front end, and then the type of app I build, I always have a backend which I can use Laravel, PHP Laravel, I can use Node and so on. And so you can just go to the more option here and make sure that you are in developer tools, which I have done. And with that, I can always check the console for error logs. Those that I have decided to log myself, those that are coming elsewhere, but I can log everything here. Currently, I don't have any error. Most of these things are warnings, and there are things that I can ignore or I can fix. There are things that don't really affect how my app works. And then if you have a back end, then you would want to check the network tab and just make sure that all your APIs are working. Currently mine is working. I have 200. Now what I want you to note is that if you are working with backend, you need to understand how these status codes work: 200, 404, 500. So you need to understand what they are and then what they mean so that you can fix the errors. We won't spend so much time on this. If you are especially a web developer coming from a web development background, then it should be easier to work with this. And if you are building cross-platform apps, then you also have to familiarize yourself with this. Then I'll switch on to my VS Code. I'm using VS Code. You could be using Cursor or any other code editor, and that is fine. But they work almost the same thing. Over here, I run my terminal, and I can check problems. Over here too, I don't really have an error, just a warning, something that I can fix, something that I can ignore. And most of these IDs have AI agents that can help you to easily fix. All right, and that is it. And we are moving to the most important of it all, that is the Android Studio, and then the tools that are available. Now, what we looked at earlier are, you could say, build time. Build errors, like errors that arise whilst you are in development, whilst you are building an app, and so they just appear as you write and then test your apps in the browser, and so you can always fix them. They would largely go unnoticed, but what can go unnoticed sometimes are errors coming from the OS. Okay, so you can say maybe runtime errors or something like that. So these errors show up when you run your app on a real device. First, we run it with an emulator. I have an emulator installed. In another video, maybe I'll show you how you can have it, but you definitely need it, all right, to test your app. And then you can also test your app also on a real device, either by connecting with a USB or installing the app directly. But I would say test with the USB first, and the final step will be testing with a real device. This is because while the emulator and Android Studio catches 99% of the errors, there are still 1% of the errors that can still pass through the checks, and only occurs when you have the app on a real device. And most of these errors, you can see them with your app either crashing or your app just showing a white blank screen. let's look at the tools. When you go to view and you go to tool windows, then you can check most of these. We're going to look at debug, then we'll look at what we call the app quality check. Okay, we'll look at the app quality inside. Then we'll look at the Logcat. Look at Logcat, and then we'll also look at the errors, and then finally we'll look at the terminal. Let's start with the build. When I run my app, when I debug my app, then I have this selected. Always make sure you have this window. Once you open any of them, this window appears. And once I run the app, I can see traces that my build logs over here. Currently, I don't have any error, and then the build is successful. And so I am cleared here. The build works fine. Okay, the build is basically the engine that converts your source code into your app. Then let's look at the app quality check. Now this is very important. The app quality check here, it connects to your Google console. Okay, so Google console, that is where you deploy your apps, okay, through the Google Play, okay, Google Play or Google Play Store, however you want to call it. And this, under this app quality insight, you have the Android vitals, okay, where you can look at what we call crashes, and then ANR. ANR simply means Android not responding. Okay, so whenever an Android is not responding, a device is not responding, then you will see logs here. And then when an app crashes, then you will see the logs there first. Now, before you can see this, then you have to make sure that you are logged in, okay, with the Google account associated with your Google console. And you can do that by going to, I think, Android Studio, then Preferences. Okay, when you go to Preferences, then make sure you are under Tools and then Google Accounts. I currently have mine connected. If you don't have yours connected, then you can add a new account. If you have several of them, you can add them and then enable them from time to time. Okay, so since I have mine connected, then I can even see all the apps that are available. Okay, so I'm going to select this. Okay, I'm going to select this, and I'm doing that because there was a reported crash. And then when I look at maybe last 60 days, I can look at crashes first. And when I look at crashes, I should see one device. So one device had a crash, and I can even see which API version that was affected. Currently, my app has been updated to Android 16 or API 36. So what that means is that this person is still using an old version of the app. I would say an old unsupported version of the app. And so this will give you an insight to the action that you have to take when the error occurred. And so I can maybe remind the user, I can let the user know that he needs to update his app. All right, so you see this is cool, and you don't have to be worried so much. Then I can do the same thing for the crash. All right, now let's move to the Logcat. Now this logs system errors. All right, when you run your app, then it outputs system information over here, and this is where you can find most of the errors that would normally happen when the app is running on your real device. And if you are debugging your app and it fails here, then the error will be output here. To make it outputs a whole lot of things. To make this easy, I can simply say that it should level. Okay, so level error. So just type level error. Okay, it should pull up. And then when you do that, and I'll just do enter. When you do that, if let's say there was, sorry, if you do that, what it means is that all right, sorry about that. Okay, so when you do that, then it will filter your output and only show you the errors so that you can easily handle that. And I can see that I have an error with the packet that I'm using. And that is expected because I think I didn't fully, I was removing it, I had issue and I didn't fully remove it. So this can help me to go back to my code and then fix that. Next, let's look at the terminal, okay, the output. Currently, I don't have any error, okay, any error when the app was loaded, all right. I don't have any error, maybe like an error from my build or manifest file and so on. I don't have any error, and so I have nothing, okay, showing over here. All right, then the last one we want to look at is the terminal. All right, this can help you to interact, okay, interact with your device or your app, okay, directly here. And so I'm going to interact with the devices, okay, and we can use what we call the ADB, okay, that is the Android debug bridge. So basically, it helps you to this command helps you to interact with the devices that are connected to your Android Studio, okay. And so one of the easy things that we can easily do is just say Android ADB devices, and it lists all attached devices. Currently, I only have the emulator running, and it's showing that I am going to connect my Android device, okay. I'm going to connect my Android device. So I do that by using a USB. I will show you in another video how you can enable USB debugging, so that when you connect when you deploy your app and let's say you are having errors, then you can just connect the device to your computer and you can trace it, because you cannot see the errors on the mobile device, but then you can read the errors over here. Now I've connected it. I'm going to do ADB devices once again, and this time I should see two devices. So the first one is my device. All right. So what it means is that I can even debug my app from here. Okay, I can debug my app from directly from here. If I So if I go to my Logcat now, then I can select the new device that is attached. All right, so I'll just clear this. When I clear the Logcat, now I'm going to do something. I'm going to try to record. Okay, I'm going to try to record from my app. My app has how do you call it? So search. I can use the recorder here, audio. Okay, so I'm going to do that. But I'm going to do that for my device, not with the emulator. I'll clear this again. And when I try to start recording, okay, it shows a prompt and then I accept it. All right, and then you see it's logging over here. You see all the information that is logging over here. Okay, so I can do that. And yeah, so basically that is it. And so I hope you've learned a lot from this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's any topic you want me to talk about, you can leave that in the comment section. See you in another video.